Hey, welcome again to another Cardboard Conversations. I'm Pat The Pauper, joined tonight by MTG Gaming's Bob, very own Bob. Hey, friend, how you doing, bud?
Doing great. It's actually been a really, really good week. Got stuff to talk about in the world of Magic, and even a no-lifer thing I'm doing on EverQuest at the moment. So I want to give a little shout out there as well.
What you're saying you're dividing your time between the
I am.
wonderful hobby known as Magic the Gathering and something else? How is
I
it you
know,
have
right?
time to do all those things, Bob?
I don't. So I just
Exactly, yeah.
sacrifice sleep, I guess.
Right, yeah. So you're playing a bit of EverQuest lately. Now that's been a long-running series. I'm about 34 now, and ever since I was in my early teens, I've got to say, I've heard about this game. I've only played it maybe an hour or two back when Dark Age of Camelot was a
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm an old schooler. Now, EverQuest is still alive and kicking, you're telling me, huh?
Um. Well, at least for me, it is. I'm playing on a player-run server right now. A shout out to the guys there at Project Lazarus for giving me a lot of entertainment this week and last. Actually, it's been a couple weeks now. Um, what I did is I tried to get back into that nostalgic old school back of when I played from '99, which I did play way back in the day
Yeah, yeah.
for a number of years before World of Warcraft came out. And when I started playing, I realized just how bad the game was. They kept it true on Project 99, and I'm like, F this. This is just too brutal. I couldn't play. I know what games are supposed to be like now. And so I didn't want to just throw out the baby with the bathwater. So I checked out Project Lazarus, which had some custom created content. So it made a lot of quality of life upgrades, and it allowed multi-boxing so you could play your own group, which is sort of a necessary
Oh, very good.
um, evil in order to make the game fun, because you really can't solo as well as other games. But it's been a ton of fun. So the community's been great. I'm having a lot of fun. So if you have any desire to go out there and play some nostalgic gaming over on EverQuest, check out Project Lazarus. You might need a little assistance getting
Oh,
things set up, but when you do, you might just enjoy it. It certainly is not as uh, smooth brain. Is that what Nikachu says? As a lot of the current MMOs are. So
right, right. Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of intricacy to it, something
mhm.
that stands out a little bit. It's not choose profession 1 and you get profession 2, little bit of cross skilling.
Yeah, it's definitely not a roll your face across the keyboard and instant win. So I'm enjoying it. I'm very much enjoying it. But there's also been a lot of developments in the world of Magic as well this week. So
Oh, and
I'm actually
how?
really excited to start talking about
Yeah.
it tonight.
Yeah, I've got to say, I've been incredibly impressed with the Commander Legends Baldur's Gate previews, way more than I was ever expecting to. There's a couple of choice cards that really jump right out, probably for the both of us. And we'll certainly get into that over the next couple of minutes. You know, dozen minutes, 20, 30. Who knows? If you
Whatever.
stick around to the end, then you'll know. Yeah. And a couple of other things. We've got a pretty decent outline. Thanks again, Bob, for being such a participant in this. I really want to
Yeah.
say, big shout out to you, to Matt, to everybody that's putting in work behind the scenes. Thank you all so much.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you to the fans that we have that watch the show, whether you're watching it live or um, whether you got us on in the background, whatever it may be. We'd like to share our opinions about cardboard with you. And tonight I shared a bit of opinions about EverQuest. So, in case you folks were watching and you did come over from the server, thank you very much for watching. Dive into the Magic the Gathering part, and we'd love for you to stick with us and check that out if you're into that at all. But I do have, I guess, kind of like the biggest obsession I've had in Magic lately, as you know
Oh,
from talking to me behind the scenes, is more on
yeah.
the financial part. Before we dig into the cards that we like, because analysis has been done and will continue to be done for the next 2 weeks until we're really all about double
Right.
bubble
Until it's
masters.
all sorts of in our hands. Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I mean I think it'll be almost past a thing by the time we start spoilers before this thing is even really well played. It'll be 1 week of opening and then double masters. And the
Well,
financial
that's
part
one of
has
the
been
terrible things about how Magic Watsian, is putting out their card sets so very quickly. As fast as you can get one out, we're already rolling into previews, spoilers for the next session. And that's something we're going to go ahead and talk about in a full length discussion at another time. So make sure you subscribe to Bob so you can see when that comes up. Same thing here. But that's a huge issue with Magic in general. I mean, we've got a really solid set coming out right now. Commander Legends 2, followed by a really solid set in just a couple of weeks afterwards. So,
it's interesting. It is interesting that you say that about Baldur's Gate, because I'm trying my best to not think about Commander Legends 1 as a
mhm,
comparison.
mhm,
Though that's very, very difficult to do, being that this is only the second
mhm,
draftable commander set, period.
mhm.
Because if you compare this against Commander Legends 1, it's just, from
It's
a pure financial standpoint, you're going to be very sorely disappointed.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the chase section, I can't say as though there's any card like your Jeweled Lotus. There's nothing that
No.
holds that same financial value. And even second to that, there are few cards of the same ilk as your Sakashima. I mean,
No.
before Hole Breacher's banning, which drastically changed your expected value out of a Commander Legends box, the first one, without that card, those boxes are still worth their value. And you
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead and throw an extra $20, $25 card in. Well, you're really juicing it up. I haven't seen
I,
quite that same quality out of this new product.
I would say even level, like not just financial level, but almost even power level. Understand that that's not the focus of the set
Mm,
from what it appears to me. That this is more flavor, more um, designed for fun.
mhm.
I think it will be a fun set to draft and to play in itself. I think it's going to be slow. I mean, most of
Yes.
the really, really good cards are, you know, 6, 7, 8,
8
15
mom.
mana
Yeah,
cost.
absolutely. Yeah.
It seems like they're intentionally slowing down, because the cheaper cards are just not, it's not going to be a lot of
Yeah.
synergy and win the game on the
Mm.
spot kind of thing. You're talking 15 plus turn commander games out of
Right.
this, is what I
Yeah.
imagine.
You're looking at like 8 mana for that I want to say Pact of Loyalty where all of your creatures gain myriad. Now don't get me wrong, that's a game ender, but expropriate is a game ender at the end of the game. You've got to get to your turn 8, 9, 10 to be able to play those very high cost spells and really seal it up. And that's what I'm seeing out of a lot of these cards. Same thing with the dragon cycle that it seems we're getting treated with here. The ancient dragons of brass and all sorts of different types. They're very good and powerful cards, but ultimately are end game material. Whereas Jeweled Lotus was turn one. That type of assistance is very, very forefront in this. I want cards that help me push this game faster. I play an Edric Spymaster deck. I want that to be very quick. I want it to be right off the bat. Turn two, I should be getting out 3 or 4 mana cards. Whereas something that's 8 CMC, or what do they call it now? Mana value.
Hmm.
I see it very difficult to get those into the battlefield as quickly as I'd like.
I mean, that was just kind of an overall impression I had, is that this is going to be a slower experience than Commander Legends 1. Not a lot of cascade, not a lot of, not a lot of synergy that's going to put massive
Yeah.
power on the board quickly and, overrun your opponents. I mean, there are one or two sort of I win cards out there, but
Mhm.
not a lot of them. So I'm trying to look at this set with a very different mindset, not one of value, not one of power, but the experience of it playing within its own contained environment, which is very easy to do, being that it's a draftable set, which
Right.
really makes me not want the set boxes. Like
Mm,
it's nothing for me.
mm.
It's like, nope, you get 18 packs, you get way to, it's not really a draftable experience. So it's like, boy, it's a strange call. So no set or collector boxes for me out of this. Collector boxes price themselves out like hardcore.
It was
Since the set,
surprising how quick those collector boxes went up, even though there was no announced chase card, like the extended jeweled Lotus in foil running a few $100s. There was nothing of that same nature announced yet in this set. And we're still seeing collector boxes rise up very quickly pre-market.
yeah, I'm not into it on this one. That's not, it's funny you mention that because that's where we can segue, and I guess it's a perfect time to do that into Double Bubble Masters, at least a bit, based off of the collector boxes. So
You're
as I've
killing
been
me,
targeting
Bob,
those
and
for.
I love where you're going with this, and I just hate the conversation.
Sorry, I mean, it's not like this is surprise, guys. Hey, I've been investing and I didn't tell you about it.
Well, that's
I
one of the
thought,
big things about this. Sorry to cut you off there, Bob, but I think one of the things I appreciate most about our back and forth is how candid we are. We're not shills. We don't get promoted. We're not
not
sponsored
making
by
any money off of
anybody.
this.
The only thing we get out of this is the enjoyment of talking back and forth openly, very wholeheartedly about what we feel on these products coming up and in past. So it's not financial advice by any stretch,
No.
but we definitely have some money to put into this. And if it's good, then we talk about how it's good. If it's shitty, well, then we talk about Adventures in Forgotten Realms.
Or version 2, which no offense is. I mean, it's not fair to say Baldur's Gate is shitty. It's shitty in comparison, right?
Mm.
Like right now, I mean, I still can't believe that Commander Legends 1 boxes are the prices that they are. And I'll tell you what, if you mark this date on the calendar and you mark the price down on Commander Legends 1 boxes and you revisit this in a year.
Yeah, 25% in the next year. That's my guess. Just guessing.
I don't know because I already expected them to be at 200, but they printed way more than I expected, right? They released more and more waves, which was a little surprising, but I think it's not bad. I think that really, it needs to be a sealed product. It's not one of the ones that's like, oh, keep it sealed because of the card values inside, et cetera, et cetera. The beauty of Commander Legend 1, or the original Commander set, however you want to call it, was playing it as a sealed product. I've been saying that since the beginning.
Right. Exactly.
And it's just it's just a fortunate, I'm not going to say unfortunate, it's a fortunate side effect that you're going to have a lot of value in it too. Like it just is. It's going to blow away the value from Baldur's Gate, period. But there is value in just opening even a shitty box and sitting down and playing it with friends, cracking them and drafting it the way it's supposed to be played.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that, because a shitty box is a box that has probably your Vampiric, maybe a Commander's Plate, Jessica's Will, and another real good hit. No Jeweled Lotus, just 4 really good, solid cards. That sounds terrible.
I've seen some even lower than that. I've seen a worse box than that had didn't even get a Vamp Tutor or anything like that. It didn't get any of the big mythics at all. I think it got a Scroll Rack, which I think is like a $13 card.
Oh,
and
which
it got
is
a Jessica's Will.
to think. I mean, anytime I've played Scroll Rack, it's always been incredibly advantageous. I can't think of a single deck Scroll Rack doesn't really fit right into. It's about as ubiquitous as a Soul Ring is to me.
I think it's useful for sure.
Yeah.
The problem with Scroll Rack, and always has been, is that it slows the game down. It's a very dirtily
video. Why we don't have Sensei's Divining Top in Legacy, and it was just a joke video, very 8th place Dave, as it were, about I want to play 2 games in an hour, 1-on-1. Don't put Sensei's in there. Don't put Scroll Rack. Let's just play the game. Yeah.
Actually, Magic's got a history of doing this. A card that I invested, well, it wasn't an investment. I bought it because I was like, oh, that's a really neat and powerful effect. I don't know how familiar you are, and might have you bring up a card here. If you ever heard of Scheherazade, I think that thing is banned just about everywhere now.
Scheherazade. I have
It's
not heard of this. I'm pulling it up right
I
now.
actually remember back in the day I ordered one because I was like, man, I want to build a deck around that because that's just really, really cool. What a great effect. And in reality, it's a terrible effect. What a horrible dirt. It is the queen of dirtle.
Oh my goodness. Look at all these words. This is atrocious. So players play a Magic sub-game using their libraries as their deck. Each player who doesn't win the sub-game loses half their life rounded up. Well, thank you, Oracle Text. Much appreciated.
You set aside, basically the way it works is whatever cards you played up to this point, you set all those aside, take the remainder of your library, and then you play a second game. You pause the game you were playing, play the remainder of your libraries. Whoever wins that, the other person loses half their life. Then you return back to the game that you were playing.
Well, that's just like kind of ridiculous. And
just throw that in with Scroll Rack and Sensei's Divining Top and just a good old 8-hour night of playing a game of Magic.
Hey, Pause, great to have you here. Thank you much for joining us this evening. I mean, as far as the Scheherazade goes, that's a little bit too much side action, especially if you're playing in Commander. I mean, even rolling dice, a number of people rolling dice slows the game down so much. Shit, even a Tolly, you hit that once, you've got 3 other people flipping their tops. Things are getting a little bit odd and laggy. I'd rather just go right through. Although I am known as a bit of a battle cruiser myself.
Yeah, I don't mind dirtily too much as long as it's fun. You know what? He who smiles the most wins. When I go to sit down with friends,
Oh, there you go. I like that. I like that a
I'm
lot.
really more about, let's have a fun experience. I don't care who wins. I honestly don't. So I know that'll probably set Nikachu's teeth on edge if he ever watches this.
Yeah,
there are people out there that don't really. The point is not to win. That winning is having fun, and I want to have shared fun with the people that I'm sitting down.
That's exactly my biggest thing. If I'm getting together for a Commander game, I'm either inviting people here, I'm going to my buddy Matt's house, and we're rolling 4, 5 deep. Last weekend, weekend before, we had a 5-person Commander game. 3 of them took forever. It was really fun, but at the same time, kind of crazy that you're able to do that still. Now, when I want to have a game with these guys, the faster the better. I like how the professor talks about the idea of, hey, do you win? Cool, let's scoop and play another one. I'd rather have 4 or 5 games instead of 3 or 4.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't matter to me the number of games or the speed of the game. It's about how much fun we had at the end of the night, period. Right? That's what I'm about. And unfortunately, I think that Baldur's Gate is going to be Dirtle's Gate. It's going to be a lot of slow play, man.
Yeah, as epic as the I forget the name of the exact card where all of your creatures gain myriad. As game winning as that is, it's actually a lot of bullshit to keep all that math up. When you have ETBs, LTBs, all of these attack triggers that are going off, actually you only get 1 attack trigger. But still, you're doing some pretty crazy shenanigans. And if you're not winning, well, you're just kind of slowing everything down.
Yeah, and there's a fog card in the set, right? One of the better cards is a fog card. Thank you.
Yes, yep.
I just had some hot coffee delivered to me by the lovely Miss Sherry Vegas.
Hey, Sherry, big shout out. Love you, gal.
And my custom-made
look at that thing.
Coffee mug
blow you up.
By the guy that made those deck boxes for me, and an upcoming video I have for for something really kind of juicy, and I just have to be unlazy and stop no-lifing on EverQuest to get the video done. I have so many videos I need to get done. By the way, so let me just take this time right now for anybody who's out there and you haven't done it yet, please go out and check out my channel, and if you like it, subscribe. If you don't, tell me to go F myself. It's fine.
Oh, for real.
Either way.
If you're watching this video and not Bob's, I barely ever put shit out. If it wasn't for Saturdays, I probably wouldn't put out a video a week. Whereas Bob and Matt over on MTG Gaming Bob's channel, they're consistent and quality. You should hit that subscribe over on that channel.
At least check us out. That, because like what Pat alluded to earlier, this is a channel that's not sponsored by anybody. We're not monetized in any way, shape, or fashion.
Cheers to that.
I don't know how many times I don't even know if YouTube would monetize us. Certainly the algorithm doesn't love us, but you're going to get a very raw, very accurate, as the world according to Garp here, the way we see it. And one of the things I wanted to cover this week, though, was the collector box prices and availability for double bubble masters already, right? I just had to go look back and see when did I actually put my pre-order in, and I'm so effing glad that I did, because things kind of blew up this week. For double masters 2022. Let's get into that for a minute. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to be really slow and dirtily and share my screen. I looked back. I ordered my case of collector boxes for that and this is after looking for a couple of weeks. And there were some that were out like at the beginning of May. I ordered mine on May 12th. Right. So that's really, really early in the scheme of things.
As far as time goes, there's a lot of sites that have no availability for pre-orders even. I think
many have sold out.
Oh, right. Yeah, I got into my pre-order for double bubbles on Amazon, and they actually ceased pre-orders and then restarted them at a notably higher price point, which we'll probably talk about.
Yeah, I know that they went up. Was that?
Oh, this is wonderful. Another product that I have pre-ordered has, in fact, gone up in price. It looks like the 3-pack draft pack for Double Masters went up from a previous $33 to $36 per item.
So let's cover that. Do you have your Amazon up? I'm having some issues.
I do indeed. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just share that screen.
Sorry,
and let's go ahead and take a little bit of a look at current.
Let's dive into this a little bit and sort of discuss the history of it, right? Because you and I were looking at it as soon as these came up. Wow, how are you seeing that price at $228? Oh, is that your history?
No, this is live.
Did they drop them back again?
It looks as though they went from $228 up to almost $260 and back
they
down
were $273. They were $273 the other day.
This is just shenanigans.
It is shenanigans, and I'm telling you, here's what I expect. Based off of what I saw on Reddit sites, on what I got from stores, and I called about 5 or 6 stores on this at what the retail price is expected to be at release. The retail prices on the collector boxes were expected to be $279. The retail price on the draft boxes is supposed to be $299. And if you look at let's look at TCG Player real quick.
That's very solid. $279 by 4 is $69, which we're getting. Love the number, but that's also
right,
where we're getting for individual packs here off of Slamazon. Which
so I know a lot of people aren't paying attention because they're still into Streets of New Capenna and figuring that out. Like you said, the pace, we really got to get into that on one of these nights. We're already looking at Commander Legends Baldur's Gate coming out, really hyped, all that good stuff. Finally, fully spoiled. Will be coming out in a couple weeks here. And there is some cards I'd like to discuss. So this is a flurry of activity for releases, and not a lot of people are actually paying too much attention to the actual prices here, right? So
This is
we've already watched
yeah.
in flux. So I would say if you can pre-order those, how many will they let you order? Can you try to add those to your cart
I
for the
want to
collector
say
box?
it's
That's another
30.
big thing. What's that?
Usually the Amazon knocks us out at 30. I'm gonna go
I
ahead
bet they
and
knock you out at
slide it.
3. They had a limit of 3. See if they increase that. So there's some shenanigans going on with the pricing, and I'll tell you this right now: if you can try to do a case, because that's a really difficult. Did it not let you? Oh,
3
so
per customer.
yeah, like I said, so I'm praying to God that the source that I got it from doesn't spike my case, meaning cancel my order, because I actually have a case I have not been able to find. So Amazon had it limited to 3. Best Buy had it limited to 3. Game Nerds had theirs up. They had it announced at 214, and then by the time they actually sold it, it was 228. So 228 is a number that's being tossed around here. I don't know exactly what all these numbers are about, but there is no MSRP, so I don't know if they're just like adding a specific percentage or whatnot.
Well, that's
and
one
I
of
did
my
order
biggest
the maximum of 2 from them as well this week, and they sold out in less than 3 hours on the collector boxes and in less than 12 hours on their draft boxes. They limited each to only 2 boxes, so you could not even get a case. A case is 8 boxes. So I hope that my case order goes through, because there's a case hit on this. I plan on doing a video about case premiums. What that means is you should charge more for a sealed case than individual packs or boxes if there is such a thing as a case hit. Like in Japanese War of the Spark, you have the Japanese alternate art. Well, it's not even that. You have a shot at 1 foil mythic per case, period. And as a matter of fact, in the last foil quest on Jake and Joel, unfortunately, the guy, I don't want to name him, did not even get a foil mythic in his case. So it's like, ooh. But there are case premiums, meaning
right. Like if you're looking at getting
cases.
a alternate Japanese foil demonic tutor out of Strixhaven, that is considered a case hit. Same thing with the neons. As far as we're seeing so far, that is running about percentage of case quality type card.
Yeah, so what it means is basically if you open the first box and get your case hit out of that first box, people are putting up the rest of the boxes out of that case online and selling them and you know, recouping their money, purchasing the next case, and so on and so on and so on. Now, in this product, I'm telling you right now, try to find a case anywhere at prices anywhere near $228. The only places I can find them are like Canadian sites, and there's a whole thing with tariffs and stuff I just don't even want to deal with. I tried looking into it, and it was too much for my poor little brain. Just to me, like if you buy stuff from Canada, you could be facing additional import taxes and fees and whatnot of 15+%. So kind of kills your savings and value there. Additionally, if there's any issues with stuff, I've heard of them opening products to see what's inside.
Yes.
Imagine them cracking your case.
Same.
Like, dude, you just killed the whole reason to have an effing case.
Exactly. Yeah, you just brought my value right down. Alter the product. Yeah.
I've even seen like some packs from Russia where the Russian border guys, whatever they're called, opened all the packs and then put stamps on every pack and put the cards back in. So, you know, like trying to get cases of double masters is going to be a unicorn. I'm not even certain with the case that I ordered 3 weeks ago that I'm going to get it. Most places online not offering case quantities, period. Most of them are capping your orders at 2 to 3 boxes a piece, it seems. Now, there are some of those shadier guys out on TCG Player. I think that's around 280, if we can take a look at that real quick. I think TCG Player for the last I saw, they were up around 339 initially. They're down around 289. I think the pressure of all these other sites selling them at 220 to, and by the time you add taxes, by the way, it's going to come out to about 250-ish. on like Best Buy and Amazon. So that's really your cost basis. So if you look, you got to compare to more like 250-ish is sort of like the going rate on Amazon.
Ooh,
Yeah, so they dropped down to around, looks like around 280-ish somewhere.
280. Wow. Whereas you could just get that off at
Oh,
Amazon.
go down a sec. They have it as a case for 16. That can't be right.
Draft booster at 16.
No, the collector booster
at
display at 1659. Can you do me a favor? That's got to be a mistake. So that might be some. Oh my goodness. Oh, they're saying ×6, but that's not a collector box. So this is clearly a mistake because look at even in the description.
8. Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. I feel as though this is.
I wonder how this would roll. Like, you give that. See, this would suck because you go to order it, and you're either going to get 6 boxes instead of an actual case, right?
Or you get the true actual display case, and
or they cancel your order and refund you your money, and you got $1,700 tied up.
Right, the back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever there's something sketchy, because it says ×6 boxes on the left there, and it says in the description 8 boxes. So I don't know what I would do with this one because this is not right. So just a word of caution on this one. You could end up being
I love this price cap right here. From 1,700 to 2,250. Yeah. 1,760 to 2,250. I like this $500 price gap right here, where people
and that would be about the price of 2 boxes, right? Yeah. So I'd be a little hesitant to pull the trigger on this. As soon as I saw 1,600, I'm like, that's less than what I paid, and I got $247 a box shipped, and I got a case. Anyways, so we're pretty far out. I won't be surprised if you're going to see a lot of this stuff. So well, let me back that up. Actual words here. I'm going to issue a bit of caution here that that's a lot of money to lay out. And then if you have your money tied up in a single source that you don't trust, that could really hurt you. I have a feeling these things, you're going to get really close to $279. What we saw initially in the Reddit post with people that have LGSs, and from my conversation with the stores, I feel good about who I ordered from, and I'll even shout them out. It was Prodigy Games, and I like them. I've done business with them before. So I called the manager directly, and indeed, they were able to. I said, I had that very same concern. I told them, I said, hey, this is a Masters product. And if you're not aware out there, Masters products are usually much more limited in availability. Think of Time Spiral Remastered kind of thing. Look at Double Masters. They're not widely available everywhere, right? Can you always get these? Sure. It depends on how much you want to pay. Can you get alpha boxes right now? Sure. Depending on how much you want to pay. Unhinged Magi's got a whole alpha starter brick up for sale for up to $4 million by June 1st, right? So when we say that it's not available, we talk about available, I mean available as a reasonable price, right? Like you can get Commander Legends 1 collector boxes, depending on what price you want to pay. If you want to pay $600 to $700 to $800 a box, probably more like $700 to $800 to $900 now.
Well, that's what's wild is the expectation of what's in this product to drive its value so very high. Now, if we're drawing very direct comparisons to the last Double Masters product, which I think most consumers, in fact, are, is that, hey, Ed, good to see you. And same thing, DK and Pause. I just want to give a quick shout out. Everybody down in the comment section, everybody watching. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming by tonight.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Now, I don't know if you guys, much like I am, are worried about what's going to be in this Double Masters product. Now,
so I'm going to say right from the rip that, sorry to all those people who disagree with me, but I think they lead with their best foot forward, meaning when they're giving those long time out spoilers, that's the best that they have to offer. Like that is the hot stuff. Now there might be more cards that we see pop up in there, like Smothering Tithe. There was another one I can't remember what it was. I'm like, oh yeah, that's probably definitely going to be in there. It was a green card. I can't remember off the top of my head. It just popped in my head today. Anyways, if I think about it before the end of the stream, I'll mention it. Of course, none of us really knows what the hell is going to be in there.
Right.
But do not expect it to be on the same level as the original Double Masters in 2020. It won't. It just straight won't. Like it's not
that's
going to
my
be
very
there.
big worry as well. As much as I would love to insert Monovault into a few decks, I'd like to put Monocrypt instead. And they would have led with that. They would have put that shit on the outside of the box, just like they did with Monovault. And this little chick catching butterflies, I don't really care too much about. I'd rather see anything else as another lead card in that. Imagine you put Karn grabbing up, singing in the valley kind of style. I'd rather see Kozilek on the box. There's a number of other good inserts.
Let me say this. Well, I wouldn't worry about so much what's on the box art because they oftentimes put crappy cards on the box, and you're like, what? Like, what the hell is even that on the cover of the collector boxes for 2022?
I
don't know.
Tell what that is.
Some sort of ooze, and there are no good oozes. Well, not that they're no good, but there are no expensive oozes out there. Period.
Right.
But one of the ones I expected to see, I know that this also popped into my head. Not expected to see, but would really love to see reprinted in Double Bubble Masters is the Dragon. I think this would be a great time to do it, as close as it is to the Commander Baldur's Gate.
Well, I just got a weird
the
10
King
hat,
Dragon.
Bob.
What's that?
What if this thing we're seeing on the cover of the Double Masters 22 item is a new super duper powerful ooze type? Now, we were both very early, and I play Lion Sash about every option I can. Even Scavenging Ooze, a very solid type. I could see something like that, even better, doubled up, make it a master.
A 5-color ooze commander?
Or completely colorless. You make that thing just an artifact creature type, and it comes in, put it in every single deck, just like Jeweled Lotus. You make it a new chase type card.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really going tinfoil hat, light them up if you got them kind of moment. But I would caution people, don't expect the same value out of Double Bubble Masters that was in the original Double Masters. Do I think there's going to be as vast a difference between Double Masters and Double Masters 2022 as there is between Commander Legends 1 and Baldur's Gate? No.
Ooh.
I think that Double Masters is going to be much closer to Double Masters. Double Masters 22 is going to be much closer to Double Masters than Baldur's Gate is to Commander Legends 1. There's just no comparison between Baldur's Gate and Commander Legends 1. Sorry.
If anything,
we really have to get into a very long discussion, and you'd have to go point for point, value for value, card for card to show me that I'm off base with that remark.
I'm just thinking about the treatments that we're getting as far as the rule book frame, module frame from Adventures in Forgotten Realms being slapped over a beloved Commander Legends type product versus the textured foils that will be so ever rare out of the collector's boxes. You have one that's a welcome chase versus one that's an unwelcome house guest showing
Here's
up.
my big fear, though. These like super duper pooper chase cards that are out there. Name the 3 that we know of.
Out of Commander Legends Baldur's Gate?
No, just in all the products. Let me just go over. I don't remember what the site was, DKMTG. DKMTG asked me what Canadian sites they were. I called about 3 or 4 of them, and I don't remember. It wasn't 401 Games. It wasn't the other one that was like Hobbiesville. I want to say Hobbiesville Games.
Yeah.
that had them at like $279. Even if you're a middleman, you can't stop U.S. Customs, right?
Right,
Even if you send them a
exactly.
gift, they open them up sometimes and go, "Oh, you lied. Here's your bill if you want to receive your product." So, sorry, little sidetrack there. Shoot, what was I saying? Damn it! I wish I could rewind my own stream and watch what I was saying. So the super duper hyper chase cards that they have given us. Number one, Viscera Seer.
Backwards.
Right? The serialized Viscera Seer backwards. Outside of the serialized card, not really something people go woohoo about. It's a good card. It's, I think, the best of the cards that we've seen that they've given super rare treatments on.
Oh, that's good to know. Thanks, DK.
Yeah, DK, you know what? We need to talk in Discord more about that. I don't want to like drag it out on stream here. But I definitely appreciate that, and I'm not trying to poo-poo it at all.
I'm actually opening up a private Discord server, so a few of you will, from time to time, get an invite to me. You know, I'm not making it public. It's just me, you guys, you know, that kind of thing. But a couple other content creators I want to talk to you on the side. So trying to open that up as another direct line of communication.
The other really recent super chase card obviously was Hidegetsu. While not a completely worthless card, not exactly people building decks around him.
Right, exactly. You know, when I saw spoilers for even some of the cards out of CLB, when I saw that Nine Fingers Keen, even out of the TikTok spoilers, leaks, as it were, I was rather excited for the card. And I'm quite pleased to see that that is an actual entry into the Magic anthology. Whereas there are a number of cards out of the original Adventures in Forgotten Realms I could just not give a shit about, and I don't. So seeing some good additions in this more recent product, I've got to say I'm reasonably pleased with what they've put in it. This dragon set doesn't look too bad.
The problem with the dragon set is what I mentioned earlier, that it's going to be very dirtly, right? It's just let's put it this way. Like, of all the Commander games that you've played in recent memory, how often has Old Gnawbone made a huge impact?
I've never seen it played.
I mean, I've seen him played, but it's like,
I mean,
he's like kill on sight.
Yeah.
Is his ability awesome if you can actually get it to go off? Sure. The problem with him is 7 effing mana, even in green. By the time you get him out there, other people have their defenses up. Probably going to be ready for him to hit the board and go, nope. Nope. Right. Let's Path of Exile that thing. Let's nope that guy.
That's one of the things.
Pongify him. Let's turn him into, a turtle, or the Oko his ass, or just something, where it's like, that's what you put these 7 and 8 cost splashy cards that they have in Baldur's Gate are just going to be in that Dirtle class. I mean, are they enough to win the game on the spot? Are they a Cyclonic Rift? Are they a Craterhoof Behemoth? No.
So far for me, the best card out of the entire Commander Legends 2, Adventures in Forgotten Realms, Battle for Baldur's Gate, the lady who tucks you in at night, the person who washes your feet, is Archivist of Ogma, a 2 CMC card. The least impressive looking card is probably, to me, so far the best auto-include staple. And a single card Esper Sentinel-esque doesn't seem to sell this set. Like Feldy's talking about from MTG Obsession, Rudy couldn't quite sell out. It's rather rare that the Taco Man himself ever has to hold inventory for his Friday night specials, which no longer feels special because, as both of us know, you can shop around. Like my mama told me.
Shop smart, baby. So, it's funny that you mentioned that about Rudy. I love Rudy. And if Rudy's watching this, I love you, bro. I do. I bashed him. I was a little drunk, and I told him he dropped into Jake and Joel's. Was it Jake and Joel's Foil Quest? I don't remember where it was. He dropped it. I think it was Foil Quest. And I told him, I said, I love you, Rudy, but I disagree. I think that Commander Legends Baldur's Gate is very meh. And actually, one of my favorite cards out of the set was just recently spoiled. But let me just finish up my final thought on the whole super duper treatments and why I'm worried about double masters. Is, we got the Viscera Seer, we got Hidegetsu, we're getting, so far the only one we know going to be in this treatment is Liliana, the Last Hope, or whatever the hell it is, $12 card that's going to end up being the regular version is going to end up being a $5 card after Double Masters is printed. Really strange choice on that one, except for it had to be like a artistic thing. It probably had to be the one that like people just oohed and awed over the most, that was most impressive. I pray to God that, let me rephrase that. I really hope that they're not relying on the treatment selling the set. Right. Yeah. I hope they put some more value in it and not relying on the texture treatment to be the neon ink selling the collector. Because even Lance said that, like, for Kamigawa, which I think is a baller set. I mean, it's a really good set, guys. And there's somebody out there, I think it's a collector store, is having like a summer blowout sale, and it's got Kamigawa. They got some really good deals. So not financial advice. Oh shit, I should look in my mail. Pretty sure it was the collector store. I think I still have it in my inbox.
Yeah, I've got to say, if WotC is promoting a product and saying that foils are the important inclusion, run. Avoid that shit like a face hugger from the Xenomorph Aliens franchise. Foils,
foils have actually been better. I want to talk about it at some point too. Maybe, I don't know about tonight. Foils are getting flatter.
Okay. I'm going to call it right now. Any of you creators, if I hear you say it, you copied it from us. Surge foil versus Purge foil. Which one's going to curl? Are these going to be an entire collector's 40K deck that runs like a Pringle? Surge or Purge? You heard it here first. I'm taking it. That's an IP, Bob.
Well, there you go. Here. So I'm going to share this with everybody.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to pop that right up here real quick.
So is there a way for me, if I zoom in, does it zoom in for you guys too? I don't know if I can. Oh, that did nothing. Wow. That really just makes, that just makes it terrible. So this is from the collector store. Yeah. But notice, look, folks, you see what I'm pointing at right here? I'm going to click on it even. We'll go there. So if you're go away.
He's going there.
If you're holding your money, you got to be able to see that, right? I hope. No, you can't. Son of a monkey. Hold on. So I went right to it. It doesn't matter. $89. $89, folks.
Is that draft or is that set?
That's draft, but $89.99 for a box of Kamigawa. That is a good deal.
That's a great deal, Bob. In all honesty, as someone who previously was a Rudy patron holding spot, I gave up on his patron just because I came to realization in things like you're showing right here on screen to us that you can get incredible deals if you shot capital S Mart. If you're very attentive to your cash spending, you can go ahead and find incredible deals. Sites like this, Card Kingdom, Fireball, eBay, for Christ's sakes, you can get incredible steals of deals.
Well, and I'm going to say this, and I know that this is probably going to ruffle a few feathers out there. So hold your seat, folks, because I never say anything controversial. You know what? I had a conversation this past week with somebody about them feeling guilty about not buying boxes from their LGS. And I'll tell you what, if your LGS offers within 10% of this price that you can get out there, then fine. Support your LGS for a minimal difference to you. 10% is what I consider minimal. Actually, it'll be more because you're going to have taxes and whatnot. But so don't buy from your LGS if it's not a good value for you.
Right.
Do you
Well,
think they're
that's
going to come,
exactly it. Yeah.
pay your bill when you have to, replace a tire because it blew out on the highway, or your kid needs braces? Your LGS is not going to go, oh, hey, let's support Gaming Bob or Pat the Pauper. No.
No.
Sorry. You have to do what's financially correct for you. And that is financial advice. Support the LGS when and where you can if it's not too much of a difference for you. I like LGSs. I think they're important in the ecosystem, but it's far more important for you to stay financially solvent and get the best deals for you than it is to support your LGS at a
That's one
premium
of the
price. It's just
issues is
doesn't make
that
sense.
far too often we see entities putting the store in local gaming store. I personally deal with a gentleman we refer to as the Goblin King, the owner of our LGS. So I've decided it's more apt to drive, even with the current gas economy. It's better to drive 35 miles to a different store with someone who can treat not just me, but other patrons of his establishment with decent prices. The guy I'm going to in my local town, 35% of TCG low. Well, I can drive a little ways and get 50% of TCG low. Now, it just comes down to, if you're going to buy a product, make sure you're buying it from someone that invests back into you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cautionary. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, look at those new Capenna pre-release kits, $16.99 a piece. I mean, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all, especially
decks.
considering, imagine you get yourself a full art Triome Tricycle Land, as Tom likes to put it. I can't imagine how that's a bad buy. We're not fiduciaries. I'm in it to win.
Up there, $93 for the set box. I mean, I think that's a fantastic deal. So there are good deals out there, folks. Now, as far as hopefully I wrapped up that point with
it's so true.
Special versions selling the sets. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that's not what they're relying on for double masters. So
it's tough, John.
Getting a case, I think, is going to be a unicorn. If I actually get the case, boy, I'm going to show that joker off on stream here on a cardboard conversation. I'll be so proud of myself if I had the forethought and the foresight and the conviction to hunt and buy a case of double bubble collector, and I actually get a sealed case. I am going to show that. I'm going to flex with that joker. I might just sit on stream with it every time I stream.
You should too, though. In all honesty, as we see, and no offense to any other creator out here, if it comes off as offensive, it shouldn't. It's purely envious. When I see other people that have sealed boxes or cases in the incredibly rare situation in their backdrop, I mean, I've got this beautiful green screen going right back here, right? Oh, all of you love it. I do too. It's great. Thank you. Huge praise. But much like a Moxman type character, I would love to show you my sealed collection. All of these boxes that I've kept over the few months I've been back into it. Boy, I would love to tease all of you with that. I've got a huge tote back here. Make your shoulders hurt from lugging it around, but it's not quite the same flex as a sealed box. Sealed boxes versus sealed cases, well, that just goes up another level.
Well, and in this particular,
get a whole pallet
in this particular case. Well, yeah, I don't know if there's a master case. I doubt we'll see that. That would be a very that would be even more of a unicorn. At least, look, I'm just a retail buyer like the rest of you guys, right? I have the same outlets all you guys do. I just spend a ridiculous amount of time shopping. I'm always out there hunting. And fortunately, I have a few minions that will alert me when there's good prices out there. I would say it's probably an equal back and forth when I see prices that I think are good, just like I got the email from that I shared with you guys. I think that's a great deal. Go out there and check out the collector store right now. Those are some pretty good prices that are making me go, damn, I just
I'll be
dropped
honest.
$3,000 on double bubble masters. I don't have the
When
budget right now to buy a
when
great.
our boy Feldy from MTG Obsession, also big shout out. If you're not watching John, you really should. Great
Feldy's
stuff over there. He's a huge supporter, but he's also an incredible creator. And that's one of the things I really like. You know, Titan Two Men, he's a great supporter. Guy doesn't make any content. John, though, he's putting out good stuff. And he just had a great comment about the idea of Captain Planet. Captain Planet is owned by TBS, Turner Broadcasting Studios. Now, MTG, not too recently, got the rights to put a Godzilla series in Ikoria. I could imagine a secret lair, Captain Planet. That shit would sell like hotcakes. Captain Planet is the whale community in WotC's, category.
I'm gonna have to say this, and it's and I don't mean to offend any of you out there. If you are, sorry, but too bad. Look, we're in the era of crossover IPs for Magic. Period. It's just happening. Embrace it, and actually try to think of where could WotC go. Not just in IP territory, but I think they should also be branching out in the different flavors, styles of play, different products available. Like I'm telling you, and I said it, was it last week we had the conversation? I plan on doing a video, but I may never get around to it. The whole PvE, player versus environment, is what PvE stands for. That Flesh and Blood is doing. What that means is there are mechanics in card games that already exist out there, like Arkham Horror and Lord of the Rings, where there is no opponent. The game itself has an opponent deck, right? So when you sit down and play, think of playing something like a Commander, very casual style, and all of you at the table either all win together or all lose together. So you have a very similar experience no matter who's sitting at the table. And I went into a rather in-depth analysis, and I have all the things bookmarked on my desk about society in general has far more casual players of games, far more, like 95 to 5 out of 100 are casual type players versus competitive head-to-head players, which would be the PvP people in most video games. Trust me when I say the casual players outnumber the hardcore PvP players, meaning head-to-head, the competitive players, by a wide ocean, not just a margin.
100%.
So
even
if WotC, like Flesh and Blood has acknowledged this, and they are developing, if you look on their site, they are developing a PvE part of their game. Right? Now, if they can do a collectible card game, the problem with the other card games that are PvE right now, or just it's all cooperative, is that they're not collectible. It's a static set of cards that everybody can get the same exact cards. When you buy a box, it has the same cards as that same box that the next guy buys. So if they can combine the gambler aspect and the collectability and the tradability of a collectible card game along with a PvE style game, look out. I mean, they can tap into a much, much broader audience.
Well, absolutely.
Far less intimidating to get somebody brand new to try Magic.
A direct example of that on the round table. Thursdays, 31 minutes in, you no longer see Moxman. Why is that? Because he's playing a competitive online format game with his close, dedicated friends. He has a group that he can play cooperatively against another entity every single week. When When you play EverQuest, which is having a huge upsurge, you get to play with your friends against a boss. When World of Warcraft, 30 years ago came out, you got to play with your friends against a dungeon. You go through the whole, imagine that. You get a real dungeon when you get to dive in with your friends. You get those treasure chests, and every person is gifted a uncommon quality artifact. And then you get to go to fight the boss. There's so many different ways that my local play group, instead of having animosity towards another player, having that game memory of a bad experience. You screwed up my Bolus's Citadel. Instead, we can fight a tentacled monster and win. That just sounds right off the bat like a book, like an entertaining module we can all participate in.
Rudy actually did a video. It was a long form one, so I don't know if many of you watch. I do tend to watch, the content creators, and I watch to the end of Rudy's videos, and I pay attention. And he was talking about that when he spoke with James White. Don't quote, don't pin my feet to the floor, but I believe he said when he was talking to James White that the experience that James White is trying to capture is something akin to like a Diablo style game, dungeon delving with your group.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that idea, capturing that of going through a dungeon and progressing through a dungeon, however far as you can go, that is just, I hope that they do it super well. If WotC was really smart, they would understand this and beat them to the punch. They have far more resources than James White does to make that happen. And I'll tell you what, it could blow up just like, EverQuest came out long before World of Warcraft did in 2004. Came out in 1995, and it was the king. It was the boss. It was, Ultima Online came out first, and it was never the boss, but
it was the first one. So that's
and then
why
EverQuest came along, and they just swept that aside. They're like, oh, everybody went to EverQuest, and then WoW just they curb stomped EverQuest. I mean, it was. I have the numbers, and just to give you a rough idea. And there's really great videos. God, I really need to get into this deeper. But when WoW came out, within the first 3 months, it surpassed the peak of subscriptions of EverQuest, which had been around for 5 years, in the first 3 months. And it was 3 times as many in the first 3 months as EverQuest at its peak. So the king, and then it just in this massive climb uphill to its ultimate peak was like 47 million or 47.9 million subscribers compared to EverQuest that had 500,000 at its peak, 550,000.
I mean,
that's how much difference it is between the casual, because EverQuest is not a casual game.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is a 90 times larger base. 90 times larger. Try to wrap your head around that, people. Imagine if there were 90 times more Magic players than there are now. There's 20 million.
So I live in Vermont with about 600,000 people. Imagine 90 times 600,000. Right? Let's pull up a great little thing here called the calculator. Times 90. That would be 54 million people. That's 1/6 of the entire U.S. population.
So
huge increase.
Just to try to put this in perspective, right? The reason, and somebody went through and like broke down why World of Warcraft was the king of MMOs. It was a far more casual, non-punitive playing experience. And you can definitely compare EverQuest and WoW, especially early on. Very similar style games. WoW was so much more appealing, not because it was more visually appealing. A lot of people used to make cartoony, is what people used to say. Didn't like that. Well, it was the casual gameplay that it appealed to. You didn't lose all your stuff when you died. You didn't lose experience when you died. You didn't have this grindy looking around, waiting for a group, can't do anything without a group. It was this very invested, not easy to play. They didn't have little question marks over the head of the NPCs that had a quest for you. They didn't have a little mini map that marked where you needed to go. And all of those really punishing style games, Star Wars Galaxies, EverQuest, Dark Age of Camelot, they are all very much more appealing to the hardcore player, the ones that like aren't the Care Bears and are the competitive players. And that's what Magic is now. We're all the competitive players that play Magic. There's no game you go into where you're not trying to beat another player.
Exactly. That's one of the big
and it's
things
hard
about the line between a healthy, powerful pod and CEDH. I've got some friends. I mean, we run proxy decks, maximum dollar value of 250, and in the increasing market, that's harder and harder. And we still see combos that are of competitive tier.
Yeah, I'm just saying that executed correctly, they could tap into a different form of play for Magic than we've ever seen before. And if they make it a far more casual type experience where it's not think about it now. A lot of people that hear about Magic, they don't want to get in and just get their face stomped. Go try Arena is what people say. Yeah, I challenge you to take a new player and toss them into the deep waters of Arena. It's an irritating experience for me. A new player would play it and go, not only do I not even understand what's going on, this is horrible. Like, I just get my face kicked in. There's nothing social about it. F this game, right? And when you get into, hey, why don't you come along and we all try to beat this Tiamat dragon tonight? You know, that we're all going to sit down and try to get through this dungeon together. That we have this experience. It's far less intimidating to that entry barrier to get people into a game, because most people, quite frankly, are intimidated by a game like Magic. The cards, you looked at Scheherazade. Now, imagine if it's your first time looking at any Magic cards. There's so many freaking words on them. People just go, I'm not playing a game of word soup. So to have an experienced player, instead of being an intimidation factor, it would be an actual blessing for those Nikachus of the world to be on your team. The hyper competitive, wanting to curb stomp the game, instead of being a barrier to bring new people, stopping new people from joining the game, it would be an enticement that you're playing with an experienced player that knows what they're doing, and you can piggyback with them and sort of, smooth out the play experience because you have experienced players with this cooperative style, as opposed to, I don't want to play because you're just going to kick my teeth in over and over again.
Right. Oh, no, that's a huge note right there, is the cooperative aspect of, hey, I could just run this boss by myself, but I'd rather have you guys come in and we all enjoy it together. I remember in middle school, early high school, playing some of the dead mines in World of Warcraft. And yeah, I could run that by myself, but it would be a lot funner to even run a noob through it with me. That cooperative co-joining of entertainment. Yeah, I like watching a movie by myself. What's as fun, if not more, is having my bestie over and we watch Mad Max together. That's even better than watching it by myself, right? That's the whole It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia joke, is that you always watch Top Gun with another buff guy, So, yeah, you should be able to enjoy the game with someone else. Not that, oh, I have to beat Robert every time. Oh, no, Lance is here. We all have to gang up on him first. No, it's me, you, him, and that other guy versus this mountain of a boss. That seems like a fun game. A lot like a dungeon delving experience. Maybe you have a cleric, and that guy isn't as powerful in the forefront, but a huge supporting character in the whole scheme. Those types of archetype would be very interesting to get into in Magic. Like you see life game decks. How about that group hug, but it's all hug? So much we could get into.
Oh, it makes your mind explode where it could potentially go. And here's the thing. They don't have to stop with their current line of cards, right? They don't have to stop, just like many of the other MMOs. Like, they still have PvP servers. they're dedicated PvP. There are still avenues of the older style. They even have time locked progression servers for EverQuest where they're just like the original Punishing game. WotC, if they invest into a PvE style game expansion where they get into that, they don't have to stop their current line of cards, right? They could appeal to an entirely different market that will not affect their current line of products, right? It could ease the pace, actually, of alternating releases to where, hey, you're giving me a little breathing room standard deck before you come out with the next set and the next set and the next set and the next set. I really think that if James White pulls this off, man, woo, look out, Magic. They could very rapidly pull a whole lot of people and just, when WoW came out, like before WoW came out, understand, I was in the beta, and just to give you a little insight, I was very intimately involved with it. And the whole EverQuest community was like, nobody's going to play that cartoon game. There's no way it can knock EverQuest off the hill. EverQuest is the best. It's never going to be beat. That's why it's called EverCrack, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that got bypassed in 3 months, folks. Like, it didn't take any time at all. And it didn't look back in its rearview mirrors. Like, they weren't just competing with them. They just blew them out of the water, like just not like passed them like they were standing still, and they were Usain Bolt, and it's like Usain Bolt racing, the little children, and it was just bye. It took off to the races, and WoW has been
that's
something
one of the things that we see about
ever since.
In general, disruptive technologies. When we see something new come about and it's completely different, let's say your Twitter. Who would want a social media platform where you can only input a handful of characters? That seems ridiculous. Who would ever want to enjoy this? Presidents, leaders of countries, senators, congressmen, stuff like that. It seems odd at first, of course. But when you get into the very base point of it, when you have people that are willing to spend hundreds of dollars on a single deck, and your whole point, exactly, and your whole concept is that they duel against each other in a competitive format, and everyone's a loser except one person. Whereas you can then flip the coin and everyone wins or everyone loses. And it then becomes like a consensus game. We're all in this together, a feeling of wholesome and connectivity. I think that would be a great addition to Magic's arsenal.
Amen. I mean, seriously, it look, you guys, if you're here, I'm sure you've heard the tinfoil hat Bob. But to be quite frank, it's not even me. I just kind of put it together going, damn, if Flesh and Blood is doing this, that seems super appealing. That is the most... I've been playing card games since 1994. I've been playing games, God, since I can... I'm old, and I can remember, when Pac-Man and Space Invaders came out. I skipped 3 days of school to play the original Zelda nonstop. Seriously. Nope. So... I am definitely a gamer and always have been. Now, this is one of potentially, like, how does it make me feel, right? So I was blown away by Warcraft. I didn't see that one coming, the original, Orcs versus Humans. But boy, what a change. As soon as I saw it, I remember it was actually right around the same time that I got into Magic. So in case you're not familiar, in gaming, before Orcs and Humans, almost all of them, if you were going to play against somebody else or with somebody else, they had to be in the same room as far as a controller could reach, right? On a console. That was multiplayer gaming.
Right, yeah.
And when I walked into a room and I saw this dude playing Orcs and Humans, and he was on his computer, on his dial-up modem, beep, boop, beep, and it was like, waiting while as he was trying to take a turn, and the computer would have to respond because he was connected, and I was in Japan. He was connected to somebody in the United States, and they were playing a game together. That just blew my mind. It was world changing. I knew the world had changed right then and there as soon as I saw that. And when you look at online gaming, I mean, truly, it went from $100,000 a year kind of business to $1 billion business almost, in the next 10 years. So then in it was right before I came back to the States. So I want to say 96, it had to be like 96, 97. The announcement came, and that's actually how I got my job, is they announced Diablo, the first multiplayer online game, cooperative, Diablo 1. And I remember you had to have a Pentium computer to play it. A Pentium 1 was a minimum requirement. I couldn't afford it, so I learned how to build computers from all the nerds because I was in a technical field. And that's when I got into computers and started building. It was like 1995, 1996, so that I would be prepared to play Diablo 1 when it released. And I knew that was a game changer, right? And that's sort of, Ultimate Online. And this announcement that Flesh and Blood, talking about building a PvE card game, I hope it's still collectible, is almost as impactful to me as the notice of Diablo 1 coming into existence. And that was groundbreaking. It's potentially as big of a game changer between not being the king of the hill and MTG being the EverQuest and Flesh and Blood, the up-and-comer Warcraft, going to the more casual co-op PvE style. This could be just earth-shaking in the world of cardboard. Now, I could be totally wrong. They could completely, miss. They could whiff on the game and not design it right, and it's not fun, and it's, there's a lot of card games that have tried different things out there that have come and gone.
Imagine if they had done Jumpstart or Commander Legends as an incorrect draftable format. Imagine if they had screwed it up a little bit. How sour we would be on those type of products. Mm-hmm. That's one of the worries as any entrepreneur has to go. As we see a new type of thing come into the market, your first virtual reality headset. I remember is it Nintendo Game Gear Virtual Boy? That's what it was. It was all red and gray, and it gave everyone headaches, and you just couldn't have it. But now, Meta, formerly known as Facebook, is making billions every single year off of the same concept. Now, as worrisome as it would be to have WotC be the first to put into that cooperative trading card game as a player versus environment aspect, yeah, sure, they could screw it up. But they could also be the Apple of this type of format. They could be the leaders. They could be the forefront runners.
Yeah, it's definitely, and this is not just like, take another hit kind of conversation. It's an announced format that they are definitely trying to develop. That's on their own website. It's been announced. This is not just tinfoil hat. Of course, a lot remains to be seen, but the concept is so utterly appealing and potentially ground shaking that, it could be a real game changer. I know that word gets tossed around a lot, but it's such an innovation. The market that it approaches has foundations of it being such a huge.
Well, that's quite interesting, Coach, to hear you say that the D20 rolling doesn't fit your Magic the Gathering opinion. I've got to say I'm quite on the fence about this. There's scry mechanics, and it wasn't really something when I first started playing the game. It seemed like it slowed everything down. It was just something so very unfamiliar. And as we get into bringing dice into the product, yeah, it's different, but at the same time, it's kind of fun. If I enjoy opening Magic the cards, I'm a bit of a gambler. So rolling a dice seems like it fits in. What do you think, Bob?
It depends on, what the experience you're trying to get from the game. So I completely understand coach's sentiment. I mean, it wouldn't be the reason that I canceled. I canceled it because it's just so far of a departure. And again, I'm getting burned by having a preconceived notion that Commander Legends Baldur's Gate would be similar to Commander Legends, and it's just they're very, 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 very different products.
I'll be honest. I wish I had the clip of Shapoopy.
I don't want to say Shapoopy because you have to ask what is it that they're after. You can't have all Commander Legends ones, right? Otherwise, it would make Commander Legends 1 not very special. You'd look back and go, man, it's just another one. You can't have all Double Masters products, or none of them will skyrocket.
That right there, that's the essence of my current worry, Bob.
Oh, I agree with you, but if you're not after, like I was specifically after, look, with what they've already revealed, I think the price point at $214 for a collector box, in all honesty, is right on par with where it should be. Period. I mean, those are no joke cards that they've spoiled. There's already enough value there that gives me comfort in what I've purchased. Will they turn into the next Double Masters? Not if they don't start increasing the value real quick. Well, but it's still a good product if it has, if you got Kozilek in there and you got Renin 6, Mana Vault. These are good. These are good cards, folks.
Oh, absolutely. You get yourself Lily or Kozilek. Those are solid hits.
So there's enough that's already spoiled that makes me comfortable at the price point it's at. I was actually surprised when they didn't increase the price point. So I think there's going to be a lot of very decent cards. I'm expecting a lot of like $40 and $50 reprints, which, to be fair, will bring them down back to the land taxes, the Phyrexian Altar, I hope, but they'll probably bring that one. I don't know why they would bring that. Maybe they'll bring that back for Brothers War. Oof, wouldn't that be a hit? There's a lot of cards that they can reach into that if you're just looking at $30 to $50 range. Smothering Tithes, I'm looking at you. Parallel Lives, that kind of stuff. I think we're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff in here that's going to make it have the value. Even if you're pulling, $20 cards out of most of the packs, or half, you're going to be pretty happy with that. And a lot of those will drift right back up. I would really love to see them reprint the Allied fetch lands, but I don't think they're at a high enough price point right now for that to happen. So again, I think there's going to be enough value in it to warrant the prices that they are now. I don't think it'll get to the moon that Double Masters is.
Well, that's one of my big thoughts on this is value versus price, and that's consistently we see across the board as far as individual buyers of any product. If you go down and you want to buy a shovel, they charge you a price. What's the value? And that's what we're looking at. When we see expected value, EV on products versus price, there's a huge disparity, as always, consistently across the board. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, when we're ahead of the game, when we're in pre-orders, I don't know what I can expect out of one of these packs.
So right now, I mean, you bring up a very good point. Right now, in the life cycle of Double Masters as of 5/28/22, this is more of a speculative purchase at this point, right? Mm-hmm. But here, I want to point out some of the things that end up happening, right? If you want to be one of those people, oh boy, I should just pull out the box of Time Spiral Remastered. I have two of them sitting on my shelf because I could only order two at $174 or whatever it was that I ordered them, right? Some of these limited products, especially when you're talking about a Masters product, you have to have the foresight and the stomach, the fortitude to be wrong. Rudy says that, and I don't want to keep throwing Rudy down. I mean, I say, that, you're going to get some of these things wrong. and understand where you are, understand your investment, understand what you're throwing down out there. So right now, if you're pre-ordering double masters, you only have those 5 cards that they spoiled, plus a couple others that we think are going to be in there based on the art on the boxes. That's a speculation, right? But I'm fairly convinced that you're going to run into this pricing model of, just like Time Spiral Remastered, the Commander Legends collector boxes, which I bought 3 of those, pre-ordered all of them, 1 at $220 and 2 at $235 a piece. I still have them sealed, the 3 collector boxes for Commander Legends 1. The 2 boxes that I purchased are still sealed, that I pre-ordered for Time Spiral Remastered. And I don't have a ton of sealed product. People think I have more than I do. I don't. I am very selective about what I pick and choose. In this particular case, this is one of those speculations. This is a time that you have to buy if you want to get them at the better prices on products that typically have a smaller life cycle, meaning they have a smaller print run. So this is that speculation period that you can get it at a discount rather than getting the confirmation that there are great cards in it. Like now we have the confirmation of exactly what's in Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. You can win with the pre-orders too. Pre-ordered TSR at $175, Mystery at $100, Commander Legends at $225, and Infinity locked in at $187 currently. Yeah, this is that period. Like, if you want to have these things that people are envious about, going for a ride. This is the time period that you have to do that. I'm not trying to create FOMO, but realize if you want those better special prices, this is that time frame. You have to look ahead of time, because what do we know about Masters products? They have tighter print runs overall period, even the draft boxes. Historically speaking, all Masters products have a smaller print run. What do we know about collector boxes? One and done print run. So probably tighter even still, right? So my guess is that if you don't adopt the early on purchasing, the pre-orders or very early orders of the collector boxes, they're only going to go up, right? This is not a standard set where they printed them into, Nowhereville like the AFR and Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunts. We know there's already good hits in them, right? And it's going to be at a relatively similar price to most collector boxes. They figured out a way to give us the premium collector boxes, even though there's far less. Welcome back. At that $220 price point, right? $250, whatever you can get it at. Sub $300 for a premium product. So this is the time to do it. I've been, preaching this for months and months. And, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm not going to make any money off of you guys buying them or not buying them right now. What I know I'm going to hear is 3 to 6 months from now, when I'm still sitting on those sealed cases and boxes at $240 to whatever I got them at, and they're $300, $350, $400, $500. You guys are going to be going, ooh, flex, Bob. And I got them, cheap. And this is how you. Sorry, that was a long rant.
Well, it's not even. Well, thank you. I had a lot of cam issues, so thank you to anyone that stuck around, especially you, Bob. Well, it is incredible to look back at prices when people got them when they were undervalued. Now, as we go forward into other products, we might well see the same thing. Streets of New Capenna, well, they had an incredible set box. Maybe 2 years from now, we see that set box at a notably higher value. Same thing like we're seeing Ikoria. When I got into that, solid 20% increase. Same thing for Commander Legends Original. Now that the second one is coming out, those first boxes are starting to creep right up. Of course, it was an incredible value when we got in. That's the whole point. If you look at a Tesla stock, yeah, you got in for $300. It's quadrupled since then. Have yourself a great day. There's a bit of a difference between looking at this for individual cards. Oh, I want to open this up. I want to get money out of it. Or I want to keep this as a sealed product. Long term, this is an index to me. There's a lot of different people that are getting into this that don't see that difference.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I got into a fairly long discussion with my fiance today about that. I'm actually having to change part of my mantra about, there's collectors, investors, players, and I have to add a new category that you can't put an "ers" on the end of it. But you open Magic now. I had to expand it out for 4 reasons, or you buy Magic for 4 reasons. The simplest is the investor, and it's really simple as an investor to make money at it. It really is. You buy sealed, you throw it on your shelf, and let it sit for years, and then sell it later. Like, it's that simple.
Yep.
The second class of people in Magic, or the second reason to buy Magic, either cards or boxes, is you buy them for your collection. Now, even sealed has now become a collection of a type. People collect sealed boxes, put them in acrylic cases, so it's a part of a collector. And you buy Magic cards to collect them. I recommend singles if you're going to do that as a collection. You'll be far ahead of the game. You have the players, which I definitely recommend if you're a player, unless you're playing in a sealed environment, buy singles. You're going to be way ahead of the game financially by buying singles.
Whoa, I wish there was like someone in our community that would constantly preach the idea of buying singles.
Yeah. And the fourth category of why people buy Magic, and I had to think about this, and it's, I'm learning on this journey of teaching my friend how to buy Magic, because he's getting into it basically for the investor part, but he's been cracking stuff open.
It's so
now I'm gonna get around to a very long-winded point here, and it made me have to change. Well, why is he cracking them? Because he's not playing with them. He's not really building a collection, and it's certainly not financially feasible to crack it and expect to make money. We can prove that over and over and over again. Just talk to the professor about cracking Magic equaling lose money. But he was doing it for the entertainment value of purely cracking the packs.
Having a good time. Yeah.
Now let me say this, because I talk to a lot of people about this all the time. I get questions and people poke me about it because I pay attention to the finances, and I guess I'm a responsible old guy. But you have to understand what the intention was of what you're going to do with the product, because you'll get, if I only have $200, what should I spend it on? Wow, that's such a long conversation. It's stupid. What are you intending to do is my first question. But people try to muddy the water by mixing all these bowls together at the same time, right? And it generally doesn't play well with each other. So what does that mean? If you're cracking the packs for entertainment and expecting it to fill your collection, you're going to be disappointed. Because the likelihood of you filling your collections by cracking packs is a stupid, expensive thing to do.
Absolutely.
If you're cracking packs with the expectation of making money, only in a very short period of time can that ever happen. We'll get back to that point there, pack opening addict. People are going to crack it anyways. People are cracking packs for other reasons. So there's always going to be plenty of open product. That's not going to stop. If tournaments stop, if pre-releases stop, if people addicted to cracking packs for gambling, understand, I'm not talking to the entire Magic audience. I'm talking to 5-10 people that are watching our stream, not 20 million that are cracking packs out there. And don't forget, stores are going to crack them. If everybody followed this, then it would be a problem. But that's not going to happen. There's not enough people. Gaming Bob doesn't have that kind of influence on the world. But if you're trying to, swish the water around with all these bowls, it's not going to work. You're going to be unhappy. If you're cracking packs for financial gain, you are going to ultimately, over a long enough period of time, you will lose money. Now, can these sort of live together in limited ways? Yes. But when you crack, so let's say when you're spending the money is when you need to consider this question of what your intention is. If it's to make money, again, buy the sealed, keep it sealed, hold on to it, sell it down the road for a profit. If you're cracking them for entertainment, fine. Realize that that's not a financial decision, that it's just like gambling or going to watch a movie or eating a fancy dinner out. It's that part of your budget that you're not like, well, I just spent $100 on dinner and that kind of sucks because I could have had a $5 cheeseburger and been just as full. You know, there are reasons that you are willing to spend premiums. And if it's for the entertainment value, fine. And if you have cards that you get to put in a collection or sell later for some money, then that is a bonus to buying it as an entertainment method. It is not the intent of why you spent the money as an entertainment thing.
That's exactly it. You know, Bob, I absolutely agree with you. Same thing with Lance here, is that you're paying that extra premium to be able to open up the pack yourself in hand. You know,
or have somebody like Lance open it. It's for the entertainment. But understand the decision. What I'm getting at is when you have to make this decision is when you're forking out the money for it, whether you're buying the singles, cracking the packs, buying sealed. Make that decision and then stick with it, because when you try to blend all this together, almost everybody ends up unhappy. And then they end up jealous over people like Rudy or Moxman, who leave stuff sealed for all this time because they bought it as an investment and left it as an investment, or opened it and they have a collection now. Realize that that's when you need to make the decision, is when you're forking out the money. And then ask yourself, why am I forking out the money? Is this something I intend to crack? Is it something I intend to keep? Do I need cards for my decks? Because I'm all of these things. I open packs for entertainment. I play sealed. I buy cards for my decks as singles, and I buy sealed that I leave as sealed. I do all of these things. But I'm very happy with all of it. Even when I'm losing money, I'm still happy because it accomplished the goal of entertainment when I'm just cracking it and, you know, hey, it's for fun. Whether my buddy comes over or I do it on Cothern Cards, it doesn't really matter what the financial value is. I still got what I paid for. It's like I'm doing this for entertainment. So win, lose, or draw, I had the entertainment. I got the value out of it. And that's where most people have the dissatisfaction in Magic, is when they don't clearly understand it. And you hear it all the time. And they're like, oh, I lost all this money, or I don't have these things, or I'm jealous of what you bought. And you're like, dude, I just watched you buy $400 worth of boxes in the last 3 months. You could have saved that up for the next banger product and ended up, you know, buying 3 boxes of Commander Legends collector boxes. But instead you bought a bunch of, you know, bubble gum along the way, and now you don't have the money for it, so you didn't invest in it when it was time to do it.
You decided that the Innistrad sets were worthwhile, and now you're all caught up inside a product, and you can't turn it around and get into something you want.
Yeah. And I'm not saying so. What a lot of people are hearing is save all your money, never crack the cards, don't play it, don't have entertainment. Just buy sealed and leave it sealed and never play with it, and the product dies. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Funny, because even though they hear that, what I'm hearing particularly different than that is, Pat, Jumpstart is a great time. If it wasn't for your suggestion to play Jumpstart with my closest friends, I probably wouldn't have. I would have kept it looking for shepherds and studies, whereas I was able to have the time playing low CMC 40 card deck versus 40 card deck, enjoying a product the way it was meant to be played. And there's that flip side, you know, that dichotomy.
What was the intent when you bought that product to play with your friends? What was the purpose of buying it? Which of those buckets were you satisfying?
In all honesty, was it
the investor?
What we were looking into was as investing into it. We saw a good product at a cheap price, and then once we had it in hand, we realized that we had the opportunity out of nowhere to open up 4 packs and play a game. And that was the huge difference. Like, we can open up 4 packs of Commander Legends, 2 for me, 2 for you. Yeah, we got some kind of cruddy cards. Okay. That's the end of it. Whereas I open up 2 packs of Jumpstart, you open up 2 packs of Jumpstart, we can have another hour and a half of entertainment. You just don't get that out of other types of Magic the Gathering products, which I think is why they're including that into other sets going forward.
I love Coach's comment at 838 there. And I think that's why there's a term called cognitive dissonance. I'm about to go all educated on you. And if you're not familiar, I'll just try to sum it up the best I can. It's like somebody who really loves Corvettes. And so they see this Corvette at $10,000 that brag to everybody and even try to convince themselves and try to explain away how buying this $10,000 Corvette was such a great deal. At today, it's a car that doesn't run, doesn't get them anywhere. And cognitive dissonance is where your brain starts arguing with itself and having problems, and it causes problems. Cognitive dissonance is a real thing. And it's really what people argue with me the most about. And they come and ask me, is this the right thing? Should I buy this? And again, I'm giving the best advice that I can now. And it is kind of a highbrow sort of thing to wrap your head around, really what I'm saying. And I'm not saying don't open and have fun opening cards, but understand when you're going into these things of what you're spending the money for so that you get your value out of it when you open it, whether or not the cards are worth money. So don't have cognitive dissonance with cards. And it's funny because what you mentioned there is you bought it initially at a good price, the Jumpstart, and then you changed the purpose of those sealed boxes.
Right, and that's one of the we were gonna save this for a later thing. I recently bought a commander deck, a pre-con, and I'm slowly going through and upgrading it. Now, my original thought on it was a commander deck for $25 sealed, like a legitimate WotC $25 commander deck. This is incredible. I'm just going to keep this forever. Oh, wait, no, this is a good deck. I want to pop this open. I want to enjoy it the way it was actually meant to be played.
But on both of those cases, in both of those instances that you're talking about, as soon as you made that decision to switch from an investment product to the enjoyment aspect of it, you surrendered the idea that you're going to get the maximum return for money.
Yep.
It no longer was an investment vehicle. It turned into an entertainment vehicle.
Exactly. It's that
and you were willing to accept that when you cracked the seal on the box. What really sucks is a lot of people don't accept that mentally before opening the seal. And and I'm going to call you out, Joey Moss. I'm just going to say it, and I don't like bashing people, but I think it was such a public exhibition of exactly what I'm talking about that what was it? It was it Commander Legends? I don't remember which box it was. I want to say it was Commander Legends collector box, to where he didn't get the value out of what he expected from the box. So he was claiming that it was a resealed box.
Oh,
right?
Gosh.
And I think that same mentality of being disappointed by the financial value once you opened it, right? The repacks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Right. It was Double Masters. Once you decide to crack the seal, and I'm going to say this and really keep this in mind, I mean, unless you're playing a sealed format, as soon as you start cracking sealed packs, you have to be willing to accept and understand that the likelihood, I don't know what the percentages are, but I'm going to throw out that probably around an 80 to 90% certainty that you are going to lose money the second you crack that seal.
Mm-hmm.
At current values, it's 100% guarantee down the road. When you crack that seal, you're going to lose value. And if you don't think so, look at the Urza Saga box opening that Joey did. Look at the Urza's Legacy boxes that he opened. Look at the beta box that was opened on Heritage Auctions, right? That the sealed product down the road is a guarantee you're going to lose money by opening it today. Right?
Well, any product. I mean, I'm personally a huge fan of Matt Castor's Saturday specials. He does a sealed box
I like it
every single Saturday.
Go check out Matt Castor and subscribe. He's effing awesome.
Yo, honestly, Matt's a beast. He's got a great attitude for him too. He doesn't do that face. As someone who sells stuff for a living, as it were, he doesn't do that shilling. So what I like about from step one, every single time, Matt Castor from episode 1 has told you what the price versus the value on all of those sealed boxes. And that's the swing. Not a lot of people really understand that. I think both Pack Opening Addict and Cothern Cards, y'all probably realize that the individual box value versus what you really expect to get out of it. Not just opening up packs, but if you're looking for price, there's a huge difference in those things. And one of the things that's built into that, as the individual, you guys have a very different outlook on it. Whereas I'm not shipping out those cards. I'm keeping them for myself. I'm having a great time playing with these. I love sticking them in, putting them in a new deck, beating up my friends with it. It's very different when you get into the mind frame that, hey, this isn't worth what it was before I started using it. God, I'm going to go back to my last stream. It reminds me of my last girlfriend.
Okay.
It wasn't worth what it was before I started using it.
Oh, wow. Ouch. So I mean, I don't want to keep beating that drum about, the difference between keeping stuff sealed. That's Gaming Bob's mantra, keep it sealed. And the only reason I said is because over and over and over and over again, no matter what the reason is, people are buying it. They always want to have the financial value out of it, right? And then when they don't get the financial value, like, look, one of the great cards we even mentioned tonight was Scavenging Ooze. I'll tell you what, if you open that when you were expecting value, you're going to be like, oh, man, that sucks. If you open that in a draft and you're about to go face somebody, you're like, oh, I'm taking that Scavenging Ooze. That's a baller card right there. Or Sad Robot, and that's just sort of the idea of people sort of getting lost in the trees through the forest. So I actually want to get on before we wrap up the stream here tonight with just a few cards that we can actually, on a positive note, talk about Commander Legends Baldur's Gate here. I do have a couple cards I would like to talk about, and some of them are the dragons. If you could bring up the website, the spoiler site, that'd be baller.
Yeah, pull that up right now for us. And what is it you're looking to talk about, Bob? Do you have any?
It's what's behind me, actually. So one of the most recent cards, and I'm not going to go through all the cards here. I don't know if you can find it quickly or not. It's called Altar of Baal, or Bahal, or Baal. I don't know if you guys saw this. And there's another one too. I think it's a mythic. It's like a mana rock. It's like a 3 casting cost mana rock that I really, really liked. So this is a black card. I don't know if it'll be in the black section. And it's called Altar of Bahal. Wow. I think you're going to have to keep going.
Like Scryfall's bringing it up quite yet. Let me go ahead and see if we can get this off of another site.
Here, I actually have it up. Let me just share my screen because that would have been just a whole lot smarter, and I'm not all that smart. So you guys are just going to have to bear with old Gaming Bob when he's just not that smart to begin with. So always a word of caution. Let's see if can
it's pronounced
ball. Whoa, that was really super duper sized.
I love that. Thanks, man. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but damn, Tom, you got me with the balls.
All right. So hopefully you guys can. Oh, that's we're over top of that. Is there a way to get us off on the side there? I don't know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Kind of over top of this.
Bloop.
So good. There we go. So Altar of Baal. This is a baller card. Pun
Oh,
intended.
look at you. Yeah.
First off, it's a 2 casting cost artifact, or if you need a creature, you can put a skeleton creature out there. It's just an excellent card if you leave it on the battlefield as a 2 casting cost artifact. Then you exile a creature you control. So let's hope you have some tokens, some, I don't know, token skeletons or zombies or something, especially in black, because it's real hard to
Yeah,
get
let's
tokens out there.
imagine you made a skeleton every turn that's a 2/2 with Decayed.
And you can exile it and return creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield with all these. We were talking about high casting cost. So especially in the limited environment, I can promise you every time I see this, I'm gonna have black in my commander, and I'm getting this one. Dude, you could throw out your Elder Brain out there on turn 3.
Oh, absolutely. This is
You could throw out your Ancient
Velvet
Dragons
Viper in
and
black.
get them into play on turn 3.
Very useful card. This seems like
Wasn't
it's
there a-
going to be potent, to say the very
like
least.
Gogo Gari, and there was that 15 casting cost card. I'm telling you right now, this is even better than the Piper, because they kill it. Oh, let me get rid of some garbage I threw out there, and it's coming back again after you board wipe. You play this
And
in a real
artifacts
commander
are
deck.
notably harder to deal with.
What's that?
Artifacts are notably harder to deal with than creatures. So
I'm just saying, this card for me is pound for pound the best card in the set. This thing is, because you think about most of these exile a creature you control, return it to the, return to the battlefield effects are usually sorceries. I don't even know if there's any instance. Like your victimizes and whatnot. I think victimize, didn't it just bring it back to your hand? I can't remember. This is and let's say you untap this thing, looking at you, Staff of Domination. I'm getting me some of these jokers. This is This is hot. This is Bob's hot take from the set. And it was like one of the last cards that they spoiled like in the last couple of days. And I'm like, oh my. Like the casting cost is low. The flexibility of, oh man, just suffered a board wipe. Let me do the bone offering. Then I'm going to put this thing out into play. And then they go get back my Elder Brain or Ancient Bronze Dragon. This is whew.
now I do have a card that I'd like to show off. I think this is personally my favorite of the series here. Of this set, I've got to say that the Archivist of Ogma, this is probably my favorite of the set. I think this is the Esper Sentinel of Commander Legends 2 right here.
I don't think it's quite as good as Esper Sentinel, but it certainly is a really good card.
Yeah, I'm thinking anytime someone rolls off their Evolving Wilds, anytime they want to rampant growth or even tempt with discovery, maybe this right here, pay off. I'm seeing a lot of value out of this one, and it looks like pre-market we're at 22.59, so seems as though the expectation is a value hit right here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pricing. You guys know how I feel about pre-release pricing of single.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think they're exactly the opposite of my recommendations for. Oh man, this is so tight. So I have another card to share too that was just a recent spoiler. Let me get back to my dirtling of great cards. So here's my second really excited about card.
For sure.
So Vexing Puzzle Box. It's a 3
Ah,
casting cost mana rock. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, put a number of charge counters on Vexing Puzzle Box equal to the result. Okay, this is a dice roller, so I know it's going to make some people on edge. But it comes into play untapped. It's mana fixing. It's a mana rock. It's a 3 mana rock, but this is superior to many of the 3 mana rocks. And then if you actually can get it up to 100 charge counters, you get to go search your library for an artifact card and put it onto the battlefield.
I mean, my only issue with that
Looking at
is
you, Blight Steel Colossus.
running on averages. That's going to take you 10 times to be able to get that out, which if you're running a dice rolling mechanic, you can definitely beef that up, make it a bit easier to get it out.
Whoa, 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 whoa. How about Staff of Domination? And you know, honestly, what I'm thinking of this card, you guys want to know what my combination is? Come on, guys. Let's see if anybody in the chat nails the one card that I just said, oh, my, to play along with this one. Immediately was like, oh, I'm going to build a deck with that for sure. See if anybody can. Nope, not Umbra Mantle. It's a green card. All right, I'm not going to keep everybody in suspense. Seedborn Muse.
That would definitely help you a bit more. Staff of Domination only works with creatures, so that wouldn't quite fit into this here.
Only
But
creatures? Oh no. Am I
yeah,
wrong about? Oh. Okay, but there's the whatever from Urza Saga, the uncommon artifact that you
yep,
untap another artifact.
absolutely. Yeah, there's definitely lots of shenanigans built right into it.
But Seedborn Muse, that whether you need the mana or not,
Absolutely.
just at everybody's upkeep, tap, tap, tap. It's going to take 2 to 3 turns to get this thing to go get whatever.
I don't understand how Seedborn Muse is still under $10.
Dude, I don't know, because that's so many shenanigans with Seedborn Muse.
Right.
But you guys see it. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that as soon as I saw this, I was like, I like it. Right? And what if you play this with Vorinclex?
EverQuest ads in your corner.
Does Vorinclex double up the counters on something? I want to say it does. Pretty sure it does. Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. Pretty sure it doubles up your counters. But I've already misspoken tonight, so I don't want to misspoke
if
again.
You put 1 or more counters, double it.
Right, so
That's only $45.
What's that?
It's only 45.
What's that? Vorinclex?
Vorinclex, yeah.
Nah, you can get cheaper ones than that.
This is off Card Kingdom, so they're always rather high.
Vorinclex Monstrous Raider, even the Phyrexian one's only 33. Wow, the Phyrexian one is the cheapest version.
And see that right there, boys and girls, is why you should shop around. Don't just go off of the first site you see. It's not just Card Kingdom. It's also eBay. It's TCG. It's private sales. There's many places where you can save a big dollar value on your singles.
That's crazy. That was like $100 card, the Phyrexian one. And what's funny is the foil one's 144, but the non-foil is the actual cheapest version because you can't read it.
That's when you just have a proxy. You just have one of those art cards that's all blank on the back and you just write it all in.
So again, like I'm saying, when I see cards like this that immediately just go, oh, we'll put that with, and you know, I love cards that do this. Why they didn't lead with this one? It's kind of bizarre to me because I don't think it's like busted enough that people are going to go, oh my god, a 3 mana rock. But it would have been getting the juices flowing, made me excited about it. Maybe they did expect it to be the card. But I don't think they have any real synergies with this other than rolling 20-sided dice, because it's not just rolling 20-sided dice for this one. You were assuming, Pat, that you have no other dice rollers on the table.
Right. Yeah. If you're running a little bit of a red deck where you have the option to delete the lowest roll, high roll times 2. Oh, good stuff. Roll an
like you
extra
put that
dice.
one casting cost. What was it, the warrior? It's not a saga. Was it the enchantment from D&D? Warrior class, maybe. I want to say it is.
I think warrior class, yeah, where you're
It
able
allows
to
you to roll twice as
to
many and
yep,
choose the
delete
result.
those. Yeah.
But again, putting this in with like Vornklex and Seedborn Muse, this could get pretty silly pretty quick. But I mean, that's a lot of dependencies. This is just going to be a fun card. It's not going to be a broken one. But just on its surface of, a 3 mana rock, 3 casting cost mana rock that's mana fixing and untapped. Okay, that's not a bad card.
No.
Right? That's just not bad.
No, it
So,
seems like a very fair set from everything.
I think Coder's right. I think it is Barbarian class.
Yeah, I mean, it's not disappointing terribly so far, as we're seeing spoilers coming out, between Nautiloid Ship, some of the Myriad cards. It seems like it's a pretty solid release. I'm more pleased with this than anything from the winter from this past year, in all honesty.
Well, and I mean, like I said, this is just good. Right? This is just good on its surface of a 3 mana rock for any color. Like that's
Right,
good.
yeah.
It's not great. It's good. It's a good card, especially in a sealed environment. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know about being mythic. This, in my opinion, should have been a rare. And then if you can get it to trigger, first off, this will trigger other dice rolling. Like whenever you roll a dice, do blah blah. So this will automatically trigger and generate mana at the same time. And then if you get to the point where you can remove the counters, go get an artifact and just put it for free into play. Because there's no busted artifacts you can put into play. Mycosynth
No,
Lattice.
that doesn't sound like something Wizards would do.
Planar Portal. I mean, just there's so much shenanigans that you can do with this card, and it really got the juices flowing. So I like this card a whole lot. I hope it doesn't get ridiculously priced. And I just feel like there's going to be more ways to bust this thing. Now, it's going to be very dirtily with rolling dice and other rolling dice and putting counters on, and Lord help you. OCD triggering already. But this is a fun card. I think that they should have led with this much earlier on in the release schedule, but they didn't. Boo, WotC. Should have done that.
Ooh, boo.
But those are two of the ones that really jumped out at me recently. I mean, we can show the dragons, but I think everybody's done the dragons, in the release schedule kind of already at this point for the spoilers. I don't think they're bad. The dice roller dragons, there's different takes on whether or not you should have dice rolling in Magic and all the implications of slowing down and dirtling, or the field just feels off. So I'm not as negative on this set as I once was. I also had to do a bit of adjusting my own thinking about the set. And, not comparing it, and it still takes a lot of strain on my brain to not compare it to Commander Legends 1 because I just naturally want to. It's not really fair. It'd be like saying every standard set's not Urza Saga. Well, of course not. So this is. It's not a horrible set. It's not a complete pooper. I'm actually. I don't know. I'm much happier with the product releases this year, even New Capenna and Baldur's Gate and Kamigawa, than I am with last year's cycle, minus such an anomaly. You have Modern Horizons 2 and TSR, and then everything else that was pretty much a letdown. Kaldheim was okay. Kaldheim's very much in that kind of. It's a
It's
toss-up. If I was going to invest either in Kaldheim or Streets of New Capenna, oof, that's a tough one. If I was going to invest in Kaldheim or Commander Legends Baldur's Gate or Streets of New Capenna, I mean, they're all kind of in that same category. So I expect similar prices. I really don't understand what the collector boxes are so expensive for. That makes no sense whatsoever to me. There's no chase, no super chase in this set, period. End of story. There's no card that after we get past the hype release prices, because understand, none of these cards are going to be 4 of people. They're not going to drive prices in the other markets like Pioneer and Legacy and well, maybe Legacy, Modern and Pioneer, which drive a lot of pricing when you get 4 ofs like you did in Modern Horizons. You're not going to have that from Baldur's Gate. So I expect the prices to cool quite a bit from what they are now. I expect none of the prices for any of the cards, including Reflecting Pool. I just don't expect cards over $25-$30 maximum in this set.
Wow.
That's what it is.
I mean, I'll be honest, there's a couple of cards I've cherry picked that meet that value of $20 plus value. But I've got to say, across the board, I feel more confident in Commander Legends 1 than I do in Commander Legends 2.
Yeah, water is wet. But I don't think this is going to be a feel bad set unless you're going into it expecting it to perform financially like Commander Legends 1 did. That's probably my final words on Baldur's Gate. I expect prices to drop on some of the sealed product, and we'll be waiting for that a few months from now. And I'll probably pick up a couple boxes just to have them around so I can play some sealed. I might even pick up a case to play sealed with friends. Like, it looks fun enough for sealed. I don't do that with standard anymore. Just I don't have a format I play sealed standard with friends.
And just as a side note, a little bit of an aside, as it were, Bob and I were talking behind the scenes, and we've been thinking about doing a bit of a deck review kind of thing. Now, we're not able to be live next weekend. I've got some personal things to take care of. So I'll be away from the mic, as it were. So we're going to hopefully bring you a pre-recorded episode next week. And one of the things we've been talking about is doing a bit of a deck review. Now, I've got a number of Commander decks that I'm hoping to do.
There you go. Sorry. Commander EDH deck reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think both Bob and I are in particular Commander players versus the bevy of different options we have in front of us as far as Magic the Gathering players. I'm not too big into the modern or standard format, so ever changing as it was. I personally enjoy playing Commander. There's many a deck I can make, set aside, and come back to later on with the ability to not have to change a single damn thing.
So what that means, like, we're going to start off reviewing, at least on our first episode, and we may even try to do it as part of our regular streams, or maybe at least a frequent segment. We'll start off doing one of our 2 decks and critiquing it amongst ourselves, and we'll look for your input too in the audience to we're not experts, neither we're not world class competitive EDH players. That's not us.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we don't have fairly good insight on a lot of cards that could play well together. And we're going to be looking for community input too. So it would make it a segment and see how well it does, see how much you all like it out there, to do Commander deck list reviews. And we'll try to keep it reasonable, probably no more than 30 minutes on a deck, because it's 100 cards to get through. Right. And we're looking we'll give our insight, and we'll look for your insight as well. You guys out there in the audience are a fantastic resource. Hopefully, it'll be fun for all of us. I enjoy watching deck reviews and people chiming in with, "Oh, hey, yeah, that's great ideas." I think Nikachu does it daily, but he doesn't do EDH. So I'm like, well, that's a perfect opportunity for us. Why don't we do an EDH deck review for you guys? And you guys eventually will be able to submit your decks. And I don't know how the selection process will work for us to review your EDH decks.
That's
So we'll probably
something.
have to have you put it on something like Moxfield.
Yeah, in
To go
particular,
through.
I'd love to reach out to Pack Opening Addict. I know that both you and I are quite new to the Commander format. So if you ever feel like taking part in something like that, you don't have to be in person. If you feel like going ahead and submitting a deck list, and this goes out to anybody, including Lance or any of you wonderful subscribers down below, just go ahead, insert that in a Mox field, and email off a link to us, and we can go ahead and include you into the show.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to say that send that link to Pat the Pauper. Make sure it's a publicly discoverable link on Moxfield, and we'd be happy to review those. And we think it might be an entertaining segment for you all to have frequently, maybe even weekly. But let us know what you guys think.
Well, hey, Bob, I think we've gone quite well above and beyond what we normally do. So if
I was
you're
expecting to do an hour.
yeah, so
I got to get back to
until
my
next week.
EverQuest, man.
Yeah, exactly. We've got some bosses to crush. There's plenty of things outside of this podcast that both of us are enthralled and wonderfully wanting to do. So thank you all, Bob, and you down there in the viewing section of the YouTube world. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Peace.